What's up, friends, far and wide across the expanse of the earth? My name's MissClick, and this is chat. Look at those losers. We're here. Actually, I was busy streaming some other stuff with some other games, so we missed the preview for Overwatch 2 from BlizzCon. Just happened maybe an hour or two ago. I wanted to check it out fully for myself before it was all the details were spoiled. So we're gonna watch. It's about 38 minutes and 33 seconds. We're gonna give it a look-sees, see how I don't know, see what's new, see what's not new. I think we're taking a dive into one of the new characters, Sojourn. Pretty curious to see her kit. I mean, I'm sure plenty of us have been curious for a while. Anyways, we're gonna get started. It's gonna be good. Daddy Jeff's gonna lead us the charge on this, and it's gonna be great. Let's do it. God, Overwatch.
Welcome everybody to BlizzCon. We know that you all want to hear
I get to shake his hand.
about Overwatch 2.
That's a nice hand.
Allow us to invite you behind the scenes to explain
the health
more
bar,
of
the
what we're
UI.
doing and why.
Everybody, please hit record. Fingers crossed.
Oh,
Scott.
It's off to a good start.
look at all of them. Look at them all.
We've been
I'm
assembling
so excited.
one of the best teams that I have ever worked with.
I'm nervous.
And I'm so proud of the progress that we have made together.
Ah,
Really liked the stylized drop down.
I thought that was my mouse.
It's coming forward, boom, boom. This starts to spin.
That new enemy
Scale
looks
and
crazy.
scope of this game have meant that we've needed to grow.
You mean turn it up, guys?
substantially.
We have to. Sorry. Let me start over.
Overall, I think we've done incredibly well as a team moving to work from home.
Kitty!
Oh, shadow play.
Wow, they had to do this from home, too.
Definitely been challenges, but the team is
Look at
really
them.
putting everything we've got
Aw.
behind this game.
To me, it's the next big step in the Overwatch universe. New heroes,
Sojourn.
game modes, major story beats.
With competitive and PvE, I see Overwatch 2 as the Overwatch for all of my friends.
You know, we're always inspired by what story and franchise development does with the animated shorts. We really wanted to bring that cinematic experience into the game.
Yes.
You can invest in your heroes and grow them over time.
Look at those trees.
I'm super geeked out about Overwatch 2.
I can't wait for people to play this game. It just gets better and better.
Okay, new
There are some
Bonnie,
things that
Blizzard
we just
World.
can't do without a sequel.
Look at them.
So
Oh my gosh.
Thank you so much for your patience so far, and I hope you enjoyed this behind-the-scenes look at Overwatch 2.
More storyline. Oh my God, I'm so excited. PvP, new maps, and role updates. Let's
For
go.
players at home, they want to see one of the new maps that we've never talked about
Yes.
before.
Really, I can just talk about anything that I want to.
Show the mirrored maps.
Yeah.
I want to see
you're
the...
serving this up to the guy that is like unintentionally leaked information in past interviews.
You can do it officially now.
Okay.
Aw.
So, one of the maps that I'm most excited for in Overwatch 2 is our Rome map.
Rome? What? Yo, it looks
We
sick.
always
Look at the
want Overwatch to
Coliseum.
feel like this globe-trotting adventure for our
Yeah.
players. So we're having a lot of fun coming up with the Overwatch version of
Oh, it's
Rome.
beautiful.
We wanted a very romantic, sort of this powerful feeling of
The music.
old world architecture. One of the most exciting
Wow.
things for me is the early building of these maps, where we get to sit down together with key people from the environment team, level designers, effects groups. We'll spend some time talking about moments in the game that we really want to see, like the Colosseum or a grand view of the hills of Rome in the backdrop.
That's
And then
beautiful.
we'll go back and do a paint over, or we'll do a concept painting of certain things based on that.
With the
We try to
modern
draw
touches.
Inspiration from as many different sources as possible. For example, one of our environment artists had just taken a trip to Rome, and he returned with thousands of pictures.
I'm
and was
sure.
so excited.
Oh, I want to go to Rome so
work
bad.
on a map set in Italy.
There's a lot of ancient architecture in Rome that represents the empire that it used to be. So
Wow.
we brought some of that back. Some of the things that are destroyed in real life, we kind of rebuilt in
Cool.
a kind of an Overwatch style.
Oh.
It's one of the most beautiful
look at that.
pieces of environment art that I think we've made for the entire game, and it just absolutely took my breath away.
Oh, I'm so excited, dude. We get to go to Rome.
Can we reveal more maps?
Yes, Scott. Scott, why don't you have the honor? Why don't you reveal, like, is there an artified, like, let's pick an artified one.
I know what map I want to talk about. It's the one that I just get super excited about. New York City.
New York?
City is just an amazing Overwatch location.
A futuristic New York. Wow!
We're really striving to make it as authentic as possible while still putting this Overwatch spin on it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of amazing buildings
Wow,
and
look at Grand
architecture
Central.
pieces that just, especially for artists, stands out a lot. And they usually use this kind of Art Deco style from the 1920s, 1950s.
Cool.
We started in an area that's a little bit like the village. There's some smaller shops there.
Murkies!
There's a fire station, little pizza places, and things that people that are familiar with New York City will either recognize or maybe
Pretty.
see the reference that we're trying
these
to
payload
make
maps?
with some of our different locations. It feels like something you haven't seen in other games before because it's uniquely Overwatch.
Mm-hmm. Wow, look at it.
Well, we should move on. Otherwise, we just have to reveal more maps.
Oh, how many maps did they
We're
add?
talking about PvP. And, you know, one thing that I think is really interesting about PvP in Overwatch 2 is some of the philosophical changes we're making to the approach.
Nani?
PvP feels different and new. We're upgrading our combat feel. The roles are playing differently. When it comes to all new maps, it's a pretty big departure from where we are on live right now. So I can't wait to see where we end up with it by the time we launch this thing.
What? Okay, it looks like a capture payload
We
hybrid.
call role passives, which are passive abilities that a hero can have based on what role they are.
Yeah.
For example, currently in our internal builds, the tank heroes all have knockback reduction against them, and they also generate less ultimate charge for enemies that are shooting at them. Damage dealing heroes have a movement speed bonus, which is great for flanking around the map.
That's huge!
And healing heroes, support heroes have automatic healing that kicks in after
Regen?
they take damage for a while, very similar to Mercy's passive.
And I need that. Yes, Mercy had that.
One of the more shocking changes that we've been exploring in Overwatch 2 PvP is a change to the tank role entirely. That's applied to all of the tanks. We want to try to make them more toe-to-toe brawlers.
Yes.
And less characters that just stand back and protect other people.
Yes.
So, for example, for Reinhardt, we've given him 2 charges of fire strikes. So
Yes!
he can throw fire strikes a lot more aggressively and more often.
2
Also, his
charge!
charge, he's able to cancel it now, and you can steer it more aggressively. So you can,
We can cancel charge!
not quite turn a corner, but you can definitely more accurately pin targets. And because you can cancel it, it allows you to use it much more aggressively and, you know, really go after those key targets
wanted to
without feeling
cancel
like
it.
you're going to sacrifice, you know, all of your positioning.
Oh
to get
my
there.
God, we
It's
can cancel
almost more terrifying
charge!
now with this,
That's
be able
such
to
a big
unleash
deal.
full arsenal more
You guys know how much I play
than
Reinhardt.
just being the guy with a shield.
The changes to Reinhardt that we're trying, and they might not ship. That's just the reality.
Look at
the
that!
changes that we're trying right now are to try to embrace more of that instinct that players have when they want to play a big burly character that looks aggressive and feels like it should be aggressive.
Oh my god, guys, as a tank player, I'm so happy right now. What, have they changed anything about Diva? Because Ryan, Diva,
Shortly after
Zarya
BlizzCon,
was like my
we
3 favorites.
spun up this group, our combat field group.
Okay.
To really just work on what happens
He's so
when
excited.
a player holds the trigger.
We're putting a ton of effort into looking at all of our characters and trying to give them even a more visceral weapon feel.
From sound to VFX to animation to the design of these units, all new sounds for a lot of our weapons in the game, and a whole new sound system that's driving it. And we didn't just level up a unit, we leveled up the rest of the game.
Damn. Dude. That's Sojourn,
When we
right?
first started working on Overwatch,
She
we
looks like a
spent
soldier.
quite a bit of time working on gunfire sounds and just general combat feel to make it feel really awesome. We're revisiting pretty much everything. Nothing's off the table, so we're looking at even kind of small things such as quick melee attacks that every hero has. So they have kind of new audio pass and a new kind of feel and visual effect when you hit things.
One of the bigger efforts we're undertaking for Overwatch 2 is what we're calling our Weapon 2.0 Sound Pass. What this is a big overhaul to the weapon systems in the game. That means the way the gun feels in your hands. You can feel the ammo running out as you're getting lower on the clip. We've really tried to amplify those sounds to better encapsulate the gameplay and the gunplay that comes with Overwatch 2.
Yeah, I like that.
Another key for the weapons was getting them to feel like they're in the environment. This meant working with convolution reverb. It's a new
Bouncing
system
off, I heard it.
that we've implemented into Overwatch. It's a way that we can capture the acoustics of an environment and transport it onto the sounds that we're using.
I like that.
So we went and captured tales of guns in different environments through our weapon shoots.
That's gotta be such a fun job, dude. Wow. That recoil, though. Ooh. That's gotta be so much
And then
fun.
we've cut them and applied it so that we can support a lot more environments. Now we're supporting outdoor, urban outdoor, warehouse tales.
Yo!
Tight tunnels.
This is gonna be sick!
Small rooms. And it gives a lot more presence to the weapons and the way that they react in the world.
So much
shooter
detail.
genre has evolved a lot since Overwatch 1 came out. On top of that, I think we really want to push the visceral nature of how we do combat.
I love
So we
small
focused a
details
lot,
like
Not
this.
just on the wonderful sound effects, but also with how the gun moves as you shoot. You know, so you can really feel
Look at
every single
Sombra.
shot leaving the chamber. And there's a lot of subtle little tweaks we have to do on the gameplay
The UI
engineering
is so
side to
different.
make that feel really visceral. Everything from making sure that
UI is
the
more
camera shakes are
boxy.
crisp, making sure that if you get shot, you know exactly these tight indicators show up on the outside of your reticle.
Yeah.
All these things play into making the game feel not just tight and responsive, but also modern and up to date. Take 76, for example. What we wanted to do in Overwatch 2 with his weapon was make it really feel incredibly powerful, and that happens with a bunch of different elements that mix together. But it really feels like the gun is almost just outside of your control. A lot of that comes down to this camera shake technology, where every time you fire the weapon, you want to feel like it's running through your entire body, and the camera shake gives that extra bite to every single shot out of the chamber. It makes him feel really great.
I know a lot of people don't
You guys
like
got
camera
a
shake,
sneak
though.
peek of Sojourn
Let's
from
go.
last BlizzCon. She's been under development for quite a while,
Yeah.
and she's actually quickly at this point become a lot of people's favorites in house.
She looks like
When you
Bash,
look back at
Soldier.
Overwatch when it was originally created, there was a lot of heroes that were made from a gameplay standpoint, kind of surrounding a weapon type. For example, Pharah was based on a rocket launcher hero. Widowmaker is clearly like kind of the sniper. We thought there was a weapon that was kind of missing that would be a lot of fun to play with, and that's a railgun. It's so much fun in the playtest to have
Oh.
this really powerful shot that can, you know, rip through enemies if you really are accurate with it. And she's all about that
Interesting.
aim skill. So
Okay.
if you got that aim skill, you'll love her.
Wow.
We're still exploring new game modes, and we're also
Sure, the railgun.
reevaluating older game modes that people are more critical of. You know, we're of the mindset maybe 2CP doesn't exist in Overwatch 2, and maybe there's a new cool game mode that replaces it. We really want Overwatch 2 to feel like the next evolution, a true sequel to the first game, not an add-on. It's not a small part. It's not an extension.
They're taking out
of the
2CP.
original game. This is
Oh,
an
God.
evolution and a replacement to the original game.
I'm so
and I think it's
happy.
exciting.
Goodbye, Anubis, and goodbye, freaking Volskaya. Get the
Hero
frick out of
missions are
here.
Probably one of the things that's the hardest to wrap your head around if you've never played one of them.
There's a map that you can choose from?
The goal
PvE.
around hero missions is for these to be this co-op PvE
Genji's arm.
experience.
I personally only play competitive mode. Like, I'm all about that
Yeah,
competition.
yeah.
And I
Of
have
course.
friends that they don't want to do that at all.
Mhm.
So I'm really looking forward to a game that I can play hours and hours
With friends.
with my friends who aren't in competitive. And
Yep.
it's also something that I'm interested
Is it a
in.
cohesive story,
Hero
though?
missions are the content that people are playing as they are leveling up their heroes. And so for a system like
The giant-
this to really sing, you need a lot of mission. We don't want players to feel like they're just in this grind to get to the top.
Right.
And there's a lot
Look
of
at that
really
AoE!
good back-end technology that we're exploring so that the heroes are constantly bringing their personality and some light story to these hero missions as well.
Light story into
The
hero
goal
missions.
is to
Okay.
make as many as possible, hundreds of hero missions.
Good.
We've
Endless
explored
hours.
a lot of different ways of getting to that much content. So have like different sets of enemy units that people will be fighting against, and there's different hero mission types. At the same time, hero missions can take place in all of the multiplayer maps that we've done, and we're also
Wow, that's
adding
crazy.
new spaces onto some of these maps.
Kings Row? Where's this?
It's a huge challenge for the art team. We take maps that a lot of people love and recognize, and
Add
we
new
have to
areas?
add a lot more art and level design to it.
Oh, this is so exciting.
In this one hero mission playtest, we came up to an area in Kings Row that usually has a gate on it. Suddenly that gate opened and I saw a new area of Kings Row that I had never seen before.
You may be playing a payload game type, and the payload may decide to take this new route instead of going the usual route.
That was really, really cool. It was like this eye-opening special moment.
Yo, dude.
Land
Look at this,
our
the dust
tech artists
particles
on the environment side very early on our own free time made a prototype
Wow.
of a sandstorm on the Temple of Anubis.
Whoa, look at the trees.
At the time, we didn't
Oh
know
my
what we
God.
wanted to do with that, but it looked awesome.
We looked at it and went, oh my God, we absolutely have to do this.
So we put some new technology
Wow.
in place that allows us to do this dynamically. You start the mission off, clear day. Midway through the mission, suddenly this sandstorm or heavy weather would show up.
It
Oh
made
my
the world
gosh.
just feel so much more alive.
Holy crap. That's beautiful. It's going to get
Sunset,
annoying, but it's going to be beautiful.
Daytime, nighttime, but depending on where you are in the world, these look different. California or Hollywood would have what we call a California sun. In New Bonnie, there's a great African sun that happens
Wow.
there. You start to get a sense of space and mood. This is what really
The
brings the
rain.
levels to life.
Oh, they're adding so much detail. Look at
For
the...
me, the dynamic world's exciting. Just seeing these
Confetti.
dramatic landscapes.
Oh
the
my
wind
gosh, you
and the
guys.
atmosphere blowing by.
This is
So
beautiful.
much more cinematic experience for the player.
Before you start a mission, you look at a map. It's nighttime in
Is that going to be
Necropolis,
during competitive, though?
or there's a sandstorm in Necropolis. Players can make some comp choices based on knowing this information. Characters like Hanzo or Widowmaker start to be a little more valuable because they have abilities that allow them to see through
better.
the sand more clearly.
I like that.
Are we gonna talk about any of the types of objectives in hero missions?
Yeah, let's talk about
Defend,
the objectives.
obviously.
Players
Yeah.
are being asked to do different things from one hero mission to the next so that they all feel really fresh to the player.
For example, we have Gather and Return, where you're trying to go
Ooh.
and grab these different canisters to kind of safeguard them so they don't go off and affect the population in a negative way.
Ooh.
It creates this really cool tension in the world where, on the one hand, you're trying to split up and go grab all these canisters to be as efficient as possible.
Ooh.
But at the same time, now you're having these sort of special enemy units spawn that are really difficult, and if you kind of get caught by yourself, it turns into a pretty bad situation really quickly, and it feels extremely cooperative and like a very different
Oh,
way
I can't wait to
interact
play
with
this
the
with the
Overwatch
squad.
universe.
We can do this too with like
We're
viewers.
experimenting with all sorts of ideas, and just internally we have names like Wall of Death, Scavenger Hunt, and Kill Quest, and all these new mechanics and enemies for people to experience. Players will be able to jump in night after night, play different hero missions, and then work through the progression system, leveling up their heroes.
Oh, the music gets me every time, dude. Progression and talents. This is what I'm excited about. The trees.
2019, we started to talk about progression, and we showed the very early version
Look at
of our
her.
talent system, which I think was really cool. We had that one talent where like became the rolling snowball, which was a big hit. We've really blown that system out.
I'm real excited about talents. You can play the same hero in so many different ways. Now with the skill tree, you can
Skill
have
trees,
fun every
dude.
night doing different things and kind of experimenting.
Look at Soldier with the
talent system
beard.
is like really deep and rich, and every single hero has different trees. You might open up 76's tree, and as you're leveling and picking new talents, you're starting to feel your hero change. We've had some pretty hilarious versions of the healing one where his biotic field travels with him. It also repulses enemies. We called it the snowplow build, where 76 is like running through spaces,
Wow.
pushing enemies away from them.
That's
Designing these
gonna
is super
change
fun
stories
'cause
so
it's like
much.
We get to break all the rules that we've sort of established for ourselves, and we get to really take the gloves off and do
Mercy?
crazy things like
Mer-
Junkrat can dual wield grenade launchers, and we've had Mercy be able to area effect res their whole team at once at super long range through walls. It's been a ton of fun, kind of like mad scientists making all this stuff.
I
We're
bet.
all used to using these kind of kinetic weapons like Soldier 76's rifle or fire attack like what Reinhardt's Flame Strike does. As soon as you start to mutate these things with talents, all of a sudden maybe you're doing freeze damage or electrical damage. But it gives the animators a bunch of crazy opportunities. You know, the animations are going to change to show them freezing and shattering.
They've added so much
And
to
if you,
this.
You know, shock someone with a lightning attack, they can shake in place and stun, maybe chain to other enemies. All sorts of stuff to make you feel
Oh my
you're controlling the
gosh.
battlefield.
That's
in
so
novel
cool.
ways.
Everybody's gonna build their kits differently too,
As a
though.
huge RPG nerd myself, the first time I opened up the talent tree systems, it was like, oh my gosh, this is speaking my love language.
Mhm.
Like, I just want to plan, and I want to see like where do I want to invest, and how am I going to play this character.
Yes, it's so great. And you start at the bottom of the tree. Like,
Yes,
oh my,
exactly.
like Tracer gets to do what? And then
Yeah.
you start working and kind of planning how you're gonna get down there. It's like, So fun.
Oh. Enemy units for the null sector. Okay, PvE stuff more. I'm so
When we
excited.
look back at BlizzCon 2019 and we talk about some of the criticisms that we had, one of them as a development team that we felt was that the combat was just not engaging enough. So the fact that our combat wasn't highly engaging to us as players meant that we had a problem with the enemy units and that they just weren't feeling interesting enough.
Just because we show something to the public, it doesn't mean that that is what it's going to be.
That's
we
true.
make discoveries where things aren't working how we want, they're
Subject to
not reading how we
change.
want, they're not fun enough.
Yeah.
We're totally down to reinvestigate, reiterate, and just really find ways to level kind of all aspects of things until they feel good.
This is the time to do
I
it.
would say a major focus of all of 2020 was to make the null sector enemy units more engaging, and some of this
Look at all of
was
them.
adding new units and evolving other units that we had.
Interesting combat for us is varied combat for us. So sometimes we're going to ask you to protect something in Overwatch 2. Sometimes we're just going to ask you to get someplace. Sometimes we might ask you to escort something across a map while it's being attacked. And so it's a different type of spawning, and it's a different type of units that are in there, and it's a simpler objective.
There's a lot of units Aaron is talking about. Lots of different units, lots of different types. They serve different purposes. You do different things to them. It's really going to help a lot of us find the fun and make sure that Overwatch 2 is a blast.
This is a hack
One
and
of the
slash
sets of
Overwatch style.
Enemies is what we internally call objective units, and they're typically units that don't even attack players. The simplest version would be something like the Breacher.
It's two legs with this huge bomb on its back. It was built to do one thing. Slowly and methodically march towards its objective, and then it transforms, and the bomb opens up like a flower, starts spinning and charging up, and you hear this awesome sound, and you know you have a little bit of time before it's going to explode, and you have to take it out.
Oh, it's stress. Nope.
We have units like the slicers, which you guys have seen before. They're little.
It's like Horizon Zero
chickens,
Dawn.
like little chicken snares. They're
Yeah,
really fast.
we have seen them
We
before.
have a guy we're experimenting with right now who flies and drops these bombs that create these
No.
kind of ever-expanding smoke fields that you have to escape
No.
from, but because they're super deadly. So you really get to use your mobility options to kind of escape that.
There's things like the Polar. You could be moving through these darker alleys.
What is that?
And as soon as you hear that Polar spawn, it suddenly becomes like really spooky and kind of scary.
This very tall, elegant-looking character that's blindfolded, 3 orbs that circle around her as her eyes, and we basically spun those orbs around her head as a big tell, launched them at the player, and then it activates this tractor beam, and it's bringing you in and bringing you in, and then you get this awesome like anticipation of the hair opening up, so you know what's about to happen.
An
One thing we've
insta-kill?
just recently been experimenting with is this idea of elite units. We didn't want the elite units to feel like they're just, oh, this guy's got double health and double damage.
Yeah.
We want to make sure the elite units feel like they have different behaviors and have different attacks.
Okay.
So, for example, an Omnic Grunt, normally he just he fires his gun, he dies pretty simply. If you fight elite Grunts, his weapon fires in a burst fire pattern. It's very deadly if you're close. And if you manage to take them out, they don't just die right away. They instead can crawl on the ground towards you. And
That's
you
so
try to
creepy.
back away.
Oh, it's just a torso.
If they get to you, they can explode.
That's gonna be chaotic.
Artillery at BlizzCon. We're all just staring at this, and we're like, what are we gonna do to level this up?
One of the things we really felt wasn't coming through was the damage states. We intend for players to shoot these guns off, but currently it's not reading as something that can happen in the game easily.
We change the design, we change the animation, and we go back and forth and just continually iterate.
We decided, hey, you know what? We're gonna just delete half of these damage states, so now
Whoa.
it's super readable.
From an animation standpoint,
Whoa.
we decided on spinning barrel version. Just did this really nice kickback.
That's
the
cool.
tip of the barrel opens up when it's about to fire and shifts into place and boom!
That looks cool.
Really amazing to be
They're so excited.
fighting an artillery unit, and you can see the guns on the side, and as you're shooting the guns, they're actually visibly taking damage, and then you can blow them off, and it reacts and kind of stumbles to the side, and
You can
really
shoot
makes
different
feel like
parts.
you're there, and it's super fun.
That's cool.
In a lot of the stuff we've showed so far, you're fighting null sector. These are evil killing machines intent on marching you down. The way you're going to stop them is by shooting them, and we want to make sure that feels responsive, and visceral. Really making
PvE
sure that
is
when
gonna be
they
so much
take a
fun,
hit,
dude.
it feels like their whole body has been punched, almost like hit by a truck. That's what really sells this fantasy that you're playing these superheroes. One of the cool pieces of technology that we created was what we call chain hit reactions. Oftentimes you'll find one sector bunched up, marching.
They stagger into each other.
Maybe half a dozen units abreast. You expect if you shoot one,
that's
they're gonna
cool.
knock into their buddies. So we make that happen.
Little details. I love that.
Turns out it's really fun too.
New hero looks. Let's go.
One
The
of the things that we
aesthetics.
showed last year at BlizzCon was the new looks for our heroes. The theory kind of going in was like, you want to preserve the essence of your hero, but also kind of show that
Freshen.
a hero's evolved and kind of changed and moved forward. So we have a lot more new looks. So I'm excited
Reinhardt's
to see
gonna
how
man bun.
players and fans react to all of the ones that we've done so far.
Maybe we'll share some of those new looks today, which would be cool.
I want to see Zarya.
We're
Show
gonna
me
reveal,
Zarya. And Diva.
McCree's new look for
Cree?
Overwatch 2 as well as Pharah.
I love
And
McCree.
we're really excited to show off some of our first villains with Reaper and Widowmaker.
Oh!
But first, I wanted to talk a little bit about technical wear, kind of like technical clothing. What that really is
I love her bomber.
using very techie fabrics, as well as having very intricate but functional straps designed in a way that is very aesthetically pleasing. With McCree, we took a couple of different approaches. He's got this classic cowboy look that
He looks
it's
more
really hard to
cybernetic.
mess with, because if you try
Look
to
at the
make him
beard!
too sophisticated or too techie, it might not feel right for the character. But as a concept artist, you always want to change things
Hello.
around, try different shapes and
Hi, Cree.
silhouettes. So we did identify as Red Serape as the main thing for McCree. We also tried
His
a couple
Bamf?
of different things with McCree's cowboy hat. We didn't really want to mess with that too much because that's a very iconic part of him. So that's another piece that we kept. We tried some retro cowboy looks that mixed in some tech here and there. Some that were a little bit more techie than others, some that were a little bit more classic cowboy. We gave him a little bit of a longer beard, and it really gives him a nice kind of like a more aged look. What's different about Pharah than some of our other heroes is Pharah's completely covered in armor. We didn't want to change her silhouette too much. It was more about experimenting on different colors. So it felt really appropriate for her to be the one to harken back to those original Overwatch colors of white and blue. One of the things that we wanted to update on Pharah was her visor. Instead of being
not too
completely
different.
opaque and reflective, we tried a little bit more of a transparent approach.
Okay.
And being able to see through it a little bit now allows us to see some more of her emotions.
Okay.
Reaper was actually the ones I was very excited to work
Ooh,
on,
look at his
because
cloak.
I could see a lot of potential in how we can
Collar.
integrate his cloak and his cowl and his armor, and how we can make all those shapes really sing within that classic, Reaper silhouette.
Nice.
We tried a couple takes with the first pass, like completely silver arms, more layers to his jacket.
Everybody's got
Reaper's
the-
mask is obviously
the armor here.
pretty sacred to us. But the thing you'll notice immediately is that it's now completely silver. Instead of bone white, he's got this like almost like deadly edgy silver that just gives him that classic Reaper look.
Cool.
With Widowmaker, we started with the IDA stage, exploring a breadth of ideas. We tried things like a more insectoid approach, treasure hunter. One of them made her feel like a classic Bond villain, so we kind of steered it back towards one of the more cyberpunk-looking ones, almost like a futuristic femme fatale, which is basically what Widowmaker is, but she even feels more upgraded. So
Yeah.
I'm super glad that we went down
The
this
braid
route.
is cool.
We played with different hairstyles too.
They kept their
Widowmaker
tattoo,
has a
obviously,
really long
shown
ponytail
off.
that's really key part of her look.
Yeah.
And we really
Braided
liked
it.
the hairstyle on
That's
one
so
of the designs
cool.
that was more of a braid, and it was really interesting look that also preserves Widowmaker's original silhouette with that long ponytail.
We've
Yeah.
been working a lot with our domino engine and making our cloth look better. Now that we have this cloth tech, we're going to be able to make some really cool, unique silhouettes that will help them stand out from other heroes. We put a lot of time and effort into our face rig, and what I mean by that is we're going to be able to get really close to these characters, and it's going to feel really cool. It is absolutely worth the time and the effort
You done.
to invest in the technology, and that way we can make these characters do more things that we haven't really been able to do.
Oh.
It's been super exciting
Oh,
working on
I
new looks
can't
for
wait.
Overwatch 2, and it's just been so inspiring to watch the team
Oh, they look
try things
great.
that we've never tried before, and I just can't wait to show off more.
Yeah, it's not too crazy, Story development. Let's go.
Overwatch 2 is probably the largest opportunity we've had since the inception of the franchise to really expand what Overwatch even means to our players.
His little ribbit backpack.
In 0 Hour, we saw that some of the heroes got back together, but we're also seeing
I teared
that
up. I
there
love
seems to be
Winston.
a second huge Omnic uprising. We're gonna learn who's behind that uprising, why that's happening, how globally spread is it.
The story and franchise development group, they were really the torchbearers of what the big story is that
Look
we
at
were going
them.
to tell for this game.
We have a lot of
I can't wait.
interaction with
Oh.
them. They're working on in-game cinematic intros and outros for every one of our story missions.
It's been really great
Wow,
to
it's
see
beautiful.
this collaboration grow.
Look
and
at
develop.
Zenyatta.
The story is just a little more integrated into our missions than it ever really has been before. All the available heroes get dialogue for a given mission.
Oh.
We have NPCs. We have multiple hero choices.
We have all sorts of events that are happening that are driving players
Wow.
to interact with each other
I'm
or parts
excited.
of the environment or other characters.
The world of Overwatch is this bright, shiny future.
Toronto!
So how do you take that
That's
bright,
the-
shiny future and create conflict in it?
the
How
mirrored
dark
mode.
can the world of Overwatch go?
The different challenges that these characters are going to have to overcome in Overwatch 2 are things that they haven't ever dealt with before or dealt with on this
I'm
scale.
so excited.
So what we had to do was literally strip it down to this bare bones.
It's gonna feel like
of
it's gonna feel
where
like
are these
X-Men,
characters in
dude.
their lives. Overwatch has been disbanded, and now there's a situation where the world's in trouble again, and
Getting like
world
the
needs
X-Jet.
heroes again,
Ugh.
but they're not allowed to be doing what they were supposed to be doing.
We started to book these off-site locations so we could brainstorm over and over different versions of what the Overwatch 2 story campaign could be.
And we basically had these whiteboards that we were carting around everywhere.
The room was filled with whiteboards, and we would just write every day story beats with the characters and who was doing what and where. And oh my gosh, we forgot this character.
We had
Sojourn's
these
going to
giant
be important.
sticky notes, and each one of them would be a mission with a bunch of notes on it. You know, somebody say, well, what if we moved Rio to the end, and they'd physically grab it off the wall and stick it on the end.
And we did this for a while, you know, until we all felt that it was pretty close to what we wanted.
Oh, I
Then
hope
we
it's a
could send
good
it to our writers'
story.
rooms. The writers' rooms then had a much clearer direction of where we wanted this process to go.
Ultimately, we come up with something that we think is right for the game, and then we pitch it back to the game team, and they point out everything that we missed.
And that allows us to actually back up and go and make it right and make it better.
Because the scale of this story is so huge, it takes place over the whole world, basically. It just requires a constant iteration, constant refinement to make the story as best as we can make it.
From writing, we go to storyboards. The storyboards get crafted with the edit. From there, it'll go to a previs department where they'll start to flesh it out in 3D. Once we've kind of figured out our camera work and our cinematography, that'll then go to the animation department. And then we end up going right into the game engine.
Genji saves Zenyatta, and Sombra and Widow are working together. Oh, I can't wait to see these interactions.
Was to figure out how to integrate this story and this narrative with the gameplay.
So if the intro cinematic ends with this huge battle, this huge war, when you get into the game, it has to mesh and feel the exact same way and blend together.
I'm so excited, dude.
We really are also trying to get the music to be equally as consistent from in-game cinematics straight through to the mission. Adam Burgess, our lead composer, has been
Music's
working
so
with
good.
the IGC team, with the game team, developing themes for all of the heroes, all of the locations.
As the cinematic director, whatever we're crafting should never override the gameplay. We want to make sure that the player's experience going from the cinematic to
Look
the
at
gameplay
that.
is seamless.
Look
and
at
feels
her.
Like a completely immersive experience.
Yeah.
The engineers, we have to find a way to actually make that come to fruition. The choreo tool is a tool that allows people to coordinate different events to happen at the same time. Like in Rio, if you played our demo, one of the buildings explodes. And so that kind of event needs to happen as you're running by, and you need to have it timed, because if it blows up too early, then you don't see it.
You don't see it,
It
yeah.
allows story moments in missions that interact with the environment, that interact with our characters.
The new tech, the new abilities that we have now are allowing us to push our storytelling farther than we could have previously.
What's also really powerful about choreo is that, you know, if somebody has an idea, they can mock things up really quickly.
We got to show the Widowmaker making this awesome introduction. Casey was able to quickly put a really rough prototype in choreo. And Philip would come in, and on the fly, he's making quick changes. They play tested something that would normally take weeks. It was
Whoa!
done in like a matter of days.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to see
Story
these
mission
interactions.
has its own custom map built for it, and these maps are absolutely gigantic.
India is one of our biggest maps, and it's a fun
beautiful.
map because it has a few story
For
beats that
Nepal,
we've taken
right?
from recent comics and characters in the
Oh,
game.
We've written a history for each city so that the cities feel lived in. And I think that informs the artists so that they know like what it is that the city has been through.
Gothenburg was our chance to show Torbjorn's workshop. We created a space that kind of fits his height. So there's, step ladders and scalable tables. We designed the space as if we were Torbjorn. Molten steel is pouring out of walls. It's pretty epic when you walk into it.
Oh.
Toronto was under siege by Null Sector when the players arrived here. There's a dynamic snowstorm. So as you make your way through the level, the snow is slowly building up.
Cool.
So by the end, the characters are caught in this gigantic snowstorm.
Zarya doesn't look too different. Don't do my girl Zarya dirty.
Overwatch 2, we want to give you choice to be able to play this character or that character. So we're designing a lot of systems around how their relationships develop over the course of the story missions in the campaign.
I want to know Sojourn's role.
Of many characters, all on screen, all at the same time. And it's fantastic to actually see them all interacting and working together in ways that we've never actually seen. We've always thought about it and hoped for it, but now it's actually happening.
It actually requires us to have a whole new branching dialogue system.
Mm-hmm.
If you happen to have Genji and Mercy in the second mission of the game, you might get different dialogue that's about their relationship.
Our voice actors bring the characters to life.
They're all back.
Everybody has fallen in love with, from inside Blizzard to the fans.
Yep.
It's just to hear
Coolest cast.
this collection of actors all together, all interacting, has been a real treat.
Bless him.
I wish people could see how many people are involved when it comes to something like telling the story of Overwatch. It doesn't just come from a singular person. It comes from a group, and it's a really talented, fun group that all works together.
We've been developing what we hope is one of the best stories ever. There's some key story moments that I'm really excited about, and I really can't wait to see how people react to it.
I want to know her origin so bad, dude. In conclusion,
We've been talking about the game.
I can't believe I've been
about
there.
This universe. I know you all love it so much.
Right now, we can sit down and have a night of Overwatch 2 and have it be a really fun experience. And I think we need some more time till we can say it's perfectly polished in the way that we want it.
That's
We've
okay.
made such
2020 was
incredible
living
strides
hell.
since we first announced this and showed it to the community at BlizzCon in 2019.
The thing that I'm most excited about is that moment when we hand the game over to the players.
We want to create something that really moves people, really touches people.
That's why we do it. We create the game because we want it to become part of your life and for you to experience it.
I'm so
For Overwatch
excited.
2, we're upping the bar. It's kind of 5 games in one. It's a huge undertaking.
Yeah, no kidding.
The new tech and the new aesthetics for the new looks bring you closer to the characters that you love, and we're just getting started.
The fidelity of the gameplay experience is much richer.
We are making cinematics that push the boundary of what we can do to tell stories.
But what about competitive in the league?
Things to feel alive.
I'm really looking forward to being able to expand the world of Overwatch for our players.
We're really trying to tell this epic story.
In order to make a game great, it takes time, energy, collaboration.
We have just an incredibly professional team of designers and artists and engineers.
We just love bringing this world to you guys. So many cool characters. It's just a blast working on it.
Our goal is for Overwatch 2 to be the worthy successor to the first game, to be the next evolution, and to be a true sequel.
We have big plans, so thank you for sticking with us.
We're gonna cross the finish line, and I know it's gonna be awesome.
I hope people just end up loving playing it over and over.
That's what we want to try and capture. I'm jumping in, I'm playing. Let's go be heroes.
Woo! Woo! I got chills, dude. I got chills. My question is, you know, we've seen so much about with, I suppose, to say, the single player / PvE aspect, which we've had elements before with like the different null sector activities, anniversary events. It's a blast, right? I have lots of fun. I'm really curious to see how involved they're going to be in the competitive aspect of the game, because Overwatch League has been a big thing since it's launched. And I'm really like the fact that they're putting this much detail into the PvE aspect, which I know a lot of people really wanted, because I think they understand that in most games there are a disconnect between the pro competitive scene, the not pro competitive scene, and then the people who just want to play casually. I consider myself more of a competitive casual, so I'll probably teeter between both of them, versus some people won't touch the PvE, some people won't touch competitive. And I love the fact that they're putting something in for everybody to play this game. It makes it more accessible to many a different type of players. But I will be curious to see how the gameplay elements change on the competitive side of things, and then how new metas and new balance patches change the way that we've known the competitive aspect of Overwatch. I know a lot of people are going to care about that, because the competitive scene is where you see a lot of the big names, a lot of the big creators. And I'm also curious to see how the PvE is going to bring a rise of new big names and content creators that are just going to focus on the PvE aspect. I think it's going to be really, 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 really exciting to see all the characters interact, how they're all their backstories. We know a lot of their backstories either from comics or from the cinematic shorts, but seeing all those characters come together, like Reinhardt going after that Bastion, like, did they not know each other? Because Bastion, I guess, you know, technically he would be considered an enemy, so it makes sense that Reinhardt doesn't know who Bastion is, and then they stop him and be like, Reinhardt, don't annihilate this Bastion. He's a good boy. And then you get to see them meet for the first time. Like, that makes my heart so happy to think that we're going to get to see moments like that we probably wouldn't otherwise. And I love the fact I'm going to be able to play the PvE with my squad, or play it with viewers and on stream, and get to have those moments together where we get to build our trees differently and have teamwork and basically make memories. And I love the fact that there's so much to offer with this game. And the fact they were working on this through 2020 as well. Like, it's really hard to be upset when A, I don't know how to make a game. B, they're the ones making the game, not me. I'm just going to consume it. And C, working on a game through the year of 2020 on a scale this big. I don't know, dude. I'm really excited. Oh, man. And I will say, part of me wishes they had changed a lot about the character designs, but also I know I say that, but if they had, like, for example, if they had changed McCree's whole look, I would have been like, man, I miss like the old school look of McCree, versus like upgrading it and making it like a kind of a tier 2, you know, upgrade of the same old look that they had. So they're making small changes, but yet it feels fresh enough, but still familiar. I'm so excited, dude. But they didn't give us a release date though, right? So I'd assume that we could probably expect it next year. I think 2023 would be pushing it, but 2022, I feel like if it's not late this 2021, it'd probably be 2022, which is fine. Honestly, if I get two of my favorite team shooters, Splatoon 3 and Overwatch 2 in the same year, oh my gosh, your girl's not gonna sleep at all. At all. Dude, I'm so excited. Holy crap. Oh, I mean, what else is there to talk about other than just how excited I am? Sojourn, it's cool seeing part of her kit and how she controls the railgun. Seems like an interesting addition. I'm curious to see. She knows Winston, obviously, because Winston's kind of like the liaison to Overwatch and bring everybody back together. I'm curious to see where she's been, how they incorporate her into the story, and how she's been gone for so long. I'm curious to see what Talon's been, you know, doing with, you saw Widowmaker and Sombra teaming up against Zenyatta. Genji defending Zenyatta, which is his mentor, kind of his, you know, I guess sensei, he calls him. So that'll be really cool to see Zenyatta in cutscenes, because we've seen him, we didn't see Zenyatta specifically. We saw his kind of sensei, mentor, you know, be assassinated in the cinematic short. What was it, Alive? That was a cinematic short title, and that's sad. And you hear about storylines and voice lines from all of that, but now you actually get to see how they interact.